Hello, so here is your piece of felt, and I may have put some dots for you to follow to do the running stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do the running stitch. So I've shown you how to thread a needle, I've shown you how to tie a knot at the end of your thread, and so I am right-handed, so I hold my needle in my right hand and I hold my fabric in my left hand. And you should hold your fabric with whatever hand you don't write with, and you want to kind of hold it so that it's taut and pulled and not just loosey-goosey. You want to take your needle, and when you start the running stitch, you start under your fabric, and you're going to take your needle and push through that first dot, and you're going to pull your thread all the way through until the knot catches, and now it won't go anywhere. So now I went up through my fabric, so now I'm going to go down through my fabric. So I go down through the next dot, and I pull my fabric until it stops. If I pull too tight, the fabric starts to wrinkle, so you don't want to pull super tight. Now I'm under my fabric, so I'm going to come up because I went up in the first dot, down in the second dot, up on the next dot. Pull through until the thread stops. Now I pulled up, now I'm going to go down again, down through the next dot. Up. And down. Now the Sharpie marker that I used on the felt is getting stuck to the end of my needle. You can kind of see on the screen that it's black. And so I'm finding when I'm trying to go through that dot that sometimes my needle doesn't want to push through. So if you can't get your needle to push through easily, do what I did right here and go right before the dot. The dots are just supposed to help you to space out your first stitching with this running stitch. So you don't have to go down in the middle of the dot perfectly. It's just to help you space out. So I came up through the fabric, so now I'm going to go down through the fabric and see it's catching. So I'm going to go right below that dot and it goes through the fabric, no problem. And I go down and now I come back up. And now I go back down. And now I come back up. And now I go down. And now I come back up. And now I go back down. If you don't end your last stitch going down, then you want to make sure. So if I ended on this here where my thread was on the top, I would need to go back down because you want your knot to be at the end, on the same side as the end of your stitch. So here's my stitch, my running stitch. I've finished it. I've got to the end of my fabric, so now I need to tie it off. So what you do to tie off is you take your needle and you go under that last stitch. So you're going to go under the stitch. You're making sure you don't catch the fabric. You're going to pull the needle through. Now before you pull it all the way through, you've got this loop here. So you're going to pull this through, but then you're going to take your needle and go through that loop. And then you're going to pull until the loop goes away and it's tied. So that's one tie. That's not a knot yet. You have to do it twice. So now I'm going to go under that thread again without catching the white fabric. Here's my loop, put my needle through the loop and pull a second time to make a knot. And now those two, doing that twice makes a knot. And now I can snip off my fabric, or if I'm going to continue to do the next set of stitches, I could continue with this fabric or this thread. But I'm going to go ahead and snip my thread. And there we go. There is the running stitch.